My son Kyle is one of the bravest people I know. That seems like a weird thing to say about a 5-year-old, but it's true. My husband and I adopted him when he was 3. In one afternoon, Kyle's life was completely turned upside down and sideways, and so was mine. Kyle woke up one August morning in familiar surroundings. He'd just spent his last night in the Chinese orphanage that had been his home since he was a baby. The lady who took care of him helped him dress, and she probably told him how great it would be to have a mommy of his very own. But when you've lived your life in a room filled with rows of metal cribs and nannies instead of mommies, you don't grasp the meaning of family, or forever. Later that day, he was handed to a loud redhead who spoke funny words he couldn't understand. That was me. After a flurry of paperwork and rushed goodbyes, the people from his orphanage left, taking everything that was familiar with them. Forever. I don't know who was more scared, this frail, vulnerable little boy or me. I'd been looking at Kyle's pictures for 8 months, almost a pregnancy, and I dreamt of the day I'd become his mommy. I'd convinced myself I already loved him. We later discovered he'd been bundled up, maybe even padded in those pictures. He was underweight and malnourished. He was tiny, and I could count each rib. The minor medical issues we'd been prepared for were big, scary issues we weren't prepared for. In an instant, I learned that a picture didn't tell the whole story. And in an instant, I realized that I did not love this child. I didn't feel anything close to love. I felt panic and dislike, and then guilt for feeling panic and dislike. This kid was sick and smelly, but he was now my kid, forever. I remember with such clarity sitting on the bathroom floor of our hotel in China thinking, I can't do this. I can't parent this child. I have many memories of life as a mom, but none that stand out like this one. I can close my eyes and take myself back to that night that I sat on the floor. I can feel the cold porcelain of the tub against my cheek as I lay down my head to cry, locked in the bathroom so that no one would see how afraid I was. I ran through disruption scenarios in my head, but I knew I couldn't leave him in China. And we took him home. Were my actions motivated by mother's instinct or by saving face? I don't know. I don't go too far below the surface on that question because it's pretty damn uncomfortable to examine yourself like that. Once home, we found our new normal, which meant launching into a cycle of constant doctor appointments, specialists, nutritionists, you name it. This kid's world had been rocked, but he was adjusting pretty well, really well. He began to trust us, and he learned to speak English at a speed I can only describe as amazing. And he ate. Let me tell you, this tiny slip of a boy could really pack it away. Me, I was still having moments of panic and doubt, but I was encouraged by his progress. If Kyle was adjusting, I'd get there too, right? Loving this child was a choice. The phrase, fake it till you make it, goes against my nature, but that is exactly what I did. Pre-adoption parent education was heavy on ways to help my child bond to me, but not so much on the other way around. Bonding is a two-way street, but we don't focus much on the parent's feelings. And it's a hard thing to admit that you don't feel attachment to your child. It's crushing. I know. I was that parent. I look back on the road we've traveled and I marvel at how far we've come. Today, Kyle is a secure and healthy child who is full of life, and he's also full of it, and I think we all know what I mean when I say it. He's filled out and he's lost that hollow look. He knows there's always food in the kitchen, and he knows what a mommy is. When Kyle had been with us for 7 months, I walked past the den where he was watching TV. Now, I could say something about how TV is reserved for special occasions in our house, but, well, who would I be kidding? "Sit here, Mommy." He patted the couch, and I sighed. I didn't have time to stop what I was doing and watch a bunch of Aussie dudes singing about cold spaghetti and mashed potatoes. But I sat. It felt nice to relax for a second, even though the wiggles aren't really my thing. I was always tired then. The endless doctor appointments and the stress over my own feelings had worn me down. Besides, I'm one of those older moms. I'm always tired. Kyle hopped on my lap, pulled my arms around his body. "Mommy, we best friends," he declared. I pulled him closer. I rested my cheek on his head, inhaling the sweet smell of sweaty little boy head, and I smiled because I knew I'd made that gesture of affection spontaneously. I wasn't faking it. And I thought to myself, we are there. This has been a hard road. We're not living a fairy tale or a scene from a Lifetime movie, but I cherished my bond with Kyle so much because I was afraid it would never come. We've nourished this child's body, watched him flourish and bloom, which nourishes my soul. I chose to be Kyle's mother, but I like to think that love chose me.